I'm not really sure what to make of the Vaykor Sydon. Its syndicate thing is when you block, you build up a charge, and when you unblock, it does a radial blind. The charge obviously coming from actually blocking incoming damage, I would assume. I don't know, we'll verify that in a second. But it's 125,000 standing, so expensive as hell from Steel Meridian. But, come on. It's the first one I've come across that comes with a V. This being the fourth I've actually looked at. Which is great because you can actually give this thing a lot of damage fairly early on. When it comes to stances, well, you've got a choice. Shimmering Blight is pretty much the only one that'll fit in there, so... Comparing it to the Sydon, however, this thing is much better. It does a lot more puncture, it does more impact, it's got more wall attack, more spin attack, more leap attack, it's got 5% more crit. Same multiplier though, but it has a 1.08 attack speed. Now, people didn't particularly take the Sydon that well, being a, what was it, puncture weapon with blades on it? Because it's a trident, or there was something wrong with it originally, I can't remember what it was. But now, I mean, it's got 85 point something damage. Yeah, it could actually be quite an impressive melee weapon, especially with that radial blind, which means finishers with this are going to be fairly easy to pull off. While finishing leveling it up, found out that without any crit mods in here, it's actually pretty decent on the crit. That was like one hit. And this thing's actually critting quite nicely, considering the rest of them are all status based. The problem is, this makes for really, really crappy footage because he's invisible. I would probably format this thing 3 times, twice minimum, adding 2 Vs in, because the way I went around building this is I used the dual stat elemental mods. That took the status up to 55. I had Blood Rush and Body Count on, which that doesn't really move any of the stats. Body Count increases the combo, Blood Rush increases the crit chance by 165%. So I did throw True Steel on, and as I just said before, this thing was actually critting quite nicely. And honestly, Primed Reach is kind of needed for that whole radial blind thing. That's why the V's, because Primed Reach, Prime Pressure Point, even if you just use normal reach and normal pressure point, it's still fairly high mods. And I'm torn on what to use last. I was tempted on Finishing Touch, because with the radial blind thing, you will be doing finishers quite a lot with this weapon. But at the same time, if you put a dash on this, you could use, what's it called, Auger Strike? Because that will actually take the puncture damage to 470, whereas if you don't put anything in, it's only 213. So that is extra damage over the finisher, and it will do damage all the time. But I'm kind of torn, so this thing's up in the air at the minute. And the way that the whole radial blind thing works is once they are... well, don't you dare. I knew you were going to do that, you turd. I don't mind the alarm. But once they're shooting at you, you basically just keep blocking until that timer at the top goes to 15. Assuming you don't end up with a guy with a shield, because these guys are melee mayhem. God damn, they're all dead again. And, oh, wait, someone's behind us. And once it does go to 15, you can actually let it go. Couldn't risk it. Alright, shoot me. Keep shooting me. And let it go. Radial blind. So Excalibur is now useless. You don't need an Excalibur, you can just use this guy. Letting it go early will pretty much do nothing. So you do want to let it go on time. If I can... Right, you, shoot me. Let it go early, nothing. Let it go about 11, nothing. For some reason it has to get to 15 otherwise it won't do the radial blind. I kind of wish that that feature of this weapon wasn't a thing, because that just, it causes quite a few problems. Simply because you might never actually make it all the way to 15 because you can be knocked out of it. Come on, I'm right here. Don't put a shield up, just shoot me. Keep going. See what I mean? Getting all the way to 15 can be problematic. I originally thought that this was, the longer you hold it, the more powerful it is, but you could let it go after 1 or 2 hits. And it would still do a radial blind, it just wouldn't be as effective. That's not the case with this thing. It's all or nothing. And I just lost all my power. Oh well. Which is, it's pretty much the only downside I've actually found while using this thing. Oh wow, okay. 15 rockets? Really? Okay. This is what I mean by blocking everything can be a pain in the butt. And just like that, I actually lost everything there. Not a problem. Down he goes. And that's why I wish this thing, it'll radial blind, but like the range of it is much, much lower. Which is why I do strongly recommend primed reach for this, because the radial blind is pretty crappy without it. I really was hoping that would count towards the block thing. Guess not. Without the primed reach, the radial blind on this just seemed absolutely rubbish. Come on, and blind. And did you see the guy all the way in the background there has also been affected? That's where the primed reach comes into play. Remembering that the Sydon itself is apparently the highest puncture based weapon in the game. So, puncture melee weapon. I should verify on that one. I'm right here. Shoot me, shoot me. Thank you. And it's actually got a fairly nice range to it as standard. So, this was a massive improvement. And the fact that it does radial blind makes it really useful for crowd control.